Sean Boylan.
How are you, Rooney? How are you?
This is a treat. I gave you a call during the week and I asked you, would you have a chat?
Yeah.
It's 2024, the All-Ireland football final is Sunday.
Yeah.
And 25 years on from 1999.
It's incredible.
The team are being honoured in Croke Park.
Yeah.
The last Meath team you led out to an All-Ireland title.
Yeah. We were beaten in 2001, but it was just a great day. Great team. There was an air about them and a confidence about them at the start of the championship. Graham was the captain, and it was hard to believe there were so many changes. There were 6 changes from the team that won the All-Ireland in 1996, but it was almost seamless the way they fitted in. And I think the 3 matches against Kildare in 97, and eventually been beaten in the Leinster final by Offaly, and then in 98 been beaten in the Leinster final by Kildare. Instead of the lads going backwards, there was a determination about them. Even Trevor in that Leinster final, he did his medial and cruciate. And when Trevor came back the following April, Trevor Giles, he came back ready to play, and he ended up getting Footballer of the Year. Amazing, yeah. They were a fabulous bunch of players, played great football. And if you look at their physique for their size, they were incredibly fit and strong, man.
It was unreal, and I'm looking forward to seeing them at the weekend, because we got to see the Cork Hurlers last week. Yeah. And all in fine shape, none more so than Jimmy Barry Murphy, who managed them back then.
You know, the show of us all. Jimmy.
Oh, he's something else. But you two, you're flying it.
Yeah.
In good form.
Grand form. Great fun. Thanks be to God.
Yeah. It's amazing what can happen in 25 years. It's such a treat being here in Edenmore. You might just tell us where we are, because we're in the garden here at home.
This is always called the garden, and there were 2 trees. They're down now. There were huge oaks. And the Old Irish was 8 on more. Okay. And there's a wood down. If you look down the very back, there's a wood way down.
I drove in today and I took a wrong turn and went up by the clinic and come back in by the house. And you gave a little shout to me and you said, I parked over by the tractor there, and you said, you're a long way from home, come over here. Yeah. And as I came over, there's a couple of O'Neill's footballs in the garden. Yeah. You introduced me to some of the lads. I know your daughters are away this week, but some of the lads are here. It's
Sean and Kieran and Dara and Oren.
There's something beautiful here, Sean.
There's the Paula's a Spanish girl. She's a friend of Dara's, and but it always was an open house. It was always like Crew Station, you know what I mean? But it's really interesting that sometimes you don't be thankful enough, really, for things you've been given. You know what I mean? And that don't get too. Don't let your boots get too big for you. You know what I mean? Be thankful for what you can do. And it's just like me when I was involved with Meath. I went in as a coach and trainer for 3 months until they got somebody. And
this is 82.
At the end of 82, yeah. And the year before was my last year with Meath Hurlers, and I'd been on that team. I was 38 at that time, and I was 39 that December after starting with Meath. But the previous year, I was player manager of the hurling team that I'd been on for the time I was 17, was never off it. And I always remember saying to myself, what am I going to do when this is over? And then when I was asked about doing the team with Liam Creevan and Brian Smith, God be good to him. So I thought it was a joke at first, and I thought they were talking about the hurling team again. And I knew it was too close to the lads in the hurling, do you understand? Because I'd been out with them all the time. And I couldn't get over that there was nobody available to do the Meath job. And it's amazing what happens, a bit of luck or whatever. And Mickey Downs from Clare, who was a teacher in Navan, he captained the team, we won the O'Byrne Cup. And then the following year, we gained promotion to Division 1. The leagues were restructured. And
you went on a great run in the Centenary Cup.
Yeah, I got a great run in the Centenary Cup. And then I looked for my own selectors, and the first match with new selectors, Galway betted 11 points in the league.
That was a big thing to look for your own selectors, was it?
It was, yeah, but I'll tell you the reason I'm saying that is because I was coach and trainer, and I've always been a student of sport, and I'd have been more of a coach and trainer than I would have been a manager.
I understand.
Right, and I just knew I'd have to wait too long for a decision, and I think it affected us in 1984.
Okay.
If we made decisions earlier, and that's not blaming anybody. and I wouldn't be into that. So I spoke to Matty Gilson at the time, because there were 7 selectors, and Matty was there for 50 years as a selector, from he captained the team in 1939. And Matty said, "Damn it, Sean," he said, "you're right, you'll have to get new people." He said, "That's not right, you can't take one of us and not take the other." Yeah. And but Matty was full of wisdom, full of wisdom. And
but you mentioned the word luck.
Yeah.
It isn't, I don't know, luck is maybe a thing, but it's also the right people making the right decision. So Matty there making a decision to maybe agree with you and go with you.
Yeah.
But if, just say for argument's sake, somebody had argued with you, and I know what happened to John O'Mahony in Mayo, the late Jono who passed away. I know Jono went looking for his own selectors in the mid-90s, and you know, for different reasons it didn't work out. Sometimes you just need the right people making the right call at the right time.
Yeah, it was amazing. So Pat Reynolds and Tony Brennan came in with me then, and they were with me for 16 years. And then I had a problem, because I knew Pat's son was going to be on the team.
This is 99, around 2000?
At the end, 95.
95,
and,
okay.
And I remember meeting Pat, because Paddy was in an agricultural college in England at the time. And I remember at the Turner Reed meeting Pat, and saying, "When will Paddy be home?" He'll be home in November. But lad, he's playing no football. He hasn't touched the ball. Doesn't even look at him once he's gone. I said, "I want to talk to him when he comes back."
Okay.
And that was the start of Paddy coming in. But it was amazing, like, you know, having been beaten sort of 10 points by Dublin in 95, leading 2 points with 12 minutes to go. And Bernie Flynn, Colin O'Rourke, Brian Stafford, PJ Gillick, Liam Harnan, Bob O'Malley, all retired.
All gone.
And that was the start of Mark O'Reilly, Darren Fay, Barry Callan, Ollie Murphy.
The minors at 92.
The minors, Cormac Sullivan, and Paddy. You know, it was just, and it was amazing. And like, by January of 96 that year, my God, they were driving Martin O'Connell and Colin Coyle. And Coyle said, "Marty, if we don't buck up, they'll push us off the team." You know what I mean? And that was the way it was, you know. And
it's amazing how that happened as well, because you look at, say, the likes of Kieran McGeeney and Porrick Joyce now that are there this weekend, and they've developed unbelievable depth in their panels.
That's right, yeah.
And that's no fluke.
Oh, no.
But for Porrick Joyce, he'll say it himself, the injuries this year, that led to him maybe pushing certain players, and other players stepped up. Yeah. So in 96, when the young fella started coming through, it probably just drove things onto another level. Yeah,
it's amazing. Like, the 6 I brought in, I'd seen them playing in the All-Ireland Minor Final 1993, and they were 16 years of age. Now, nothing happened the following year for them, but it was the way that they played when they were being beaten. They were playing as if, you know, they were still playing to win, not to prevent something happening. You know what I mean?
That was what you were looking for.
That stuck there, and it's you know, and it's always players that win the matches. You know what I mean? It's always players that win it. And it's amazing, like, and it led to a glorious period with Tommy Dowd's team and, you know, Graham's team. But you also had John Mack and Brenny Riley and Trevor, like 3 great captains. But you know, it doesn't always work out for you.
It doesn't.
But we certainly enjoyed it. We had some crack.
Amazing. Last week I caught up with Sean O'Halpine for a lovely chat overlooking the 7th tier. From the 7th tier, Croke Park, his nephew Darian was beside us, and we were having just a chat about the hurling in 99, and he marked DJ and Henry that day.
That's right.
2 weeks later, he's marking Graham Garrity.
That's right.
From full back.
Yeah.
And one of the
astonishing.
2 of the greatest goals ever scored in All-Ireland finals, Sean, I feel, was the Cork goal that day.
Yeah.
A brilliant goal.
Derek Kavanagh.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
But also the Meath goal. There was something beautiful about the manner in which, long ball in, Garrity gets up and flicks it down. And who took it in his stride?
Yeah.
Ollie Murphy and buries it. There was something unbelievable about that goal.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And but like,
did you take joy in moments like that, or watching that back? Is that the things you take joy in, or what is it?
You just marvel at it. It's poetry in motion, and it is an art. And like, that's why, you know, hurling is astonishing. It's an astonishing game, and I absolutely adore hurling. But Gaelic football, played positively, is a joy, because, you know, you can be attacked from the front, from behind, from the side. You have to be able to catch it in the air. You have to be able to take it, and like, you should never take the art out of, like, chipping the ball up or whatever. Like, never take the skill out of a game. But like, and I loved. It's more. You had more of it at the time. The risk in it, trusting your fellow player up the field. You know what I mean? that he'd win the ball. And like years ago, if a back won 3 out of 10 balls, if he won sort of 7 out of 10 balls, he'd be disappointed with himself. You know what I mean? If the forward won 3, but because it was man to man, and the way it has changed, the way it has developed, and so on. But like people talk about the fitness levels. I just think the fitness was always appropriate to the time. Like, you know, it's 75 years since Meath won the first All-Ireland this year. And the official training was 3 weeks in Rooney in the weather.
That was it?
Yeah, before the All-Ireland.
Wow.
And Jim Carney was brought up from the 1939 team. And he was the missing link. But there were 12 selectors. And the reason was people went to matches on bikes. Do you know what I mean? Like, and like when Meath won the All-Ireland 87, 88, they were in cars and they were getting lifts. And Mocky Regan often talks about the masseur with the team, still there. Mocky would often talk when he was asked in 96, what's the difference in 87, 88, 96? The cars are driving cars, the boys are driving cars, and that's the way life, but the culture is still the same.
Yeah.
The ambition is still the same. And like...
What's the difference? What's the difference in 2024? Is it as stark as it was, the difference from 39 to 88?
I think that, like if I can preface it by talking about the hurling last Sunday, you had 2 teams, amateur teams, coached so well to play for 75, 80 minutes without a break. It is non-stop. Like, it is phenomenal. Like, there's not a good other game in the world that is played at the intensity or the pace that it is. And the game is over and you've managed to draw one way or the other. You've managed to draw. And I felt last Sunday was not right.
Okay.
That it should go to a replay. And I know there are different reasons for not having them, but at least if it goes to replay, you're prepared if it's going to go to extra time. But like, if you have lads who are going out for you, well, I won't give my best now, I keep it until extra time. And like, years ago we played Kildare, and Jody Devine is on the team for 12 minutes, he hasn't touched the ball. And in the extra time, Jody scores 4 of the most magnificent points I've ever seen in my life. And like, there's a time for everybody. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, he had to be ready as well. And like, to have the confidence to just have a cut and have a go at it. And like, that's when, you know, people would talk about Dublin and they would talk about Limerick, astonishing teams. But it was nothing to do with money. It's to do with the people themselves and the desire they have and that for perfection. And like, it's extraordinary. And like, you asked me about today they're getting all this information, the scientific feedback and so on. But at a certain point in time, there's an indefinable thing in every player that's not yet on an app. That indefinable thing is that courage or that gut that is there in you. Like, it was nearly like boxing. One mistake and you're gone. And to be able to cope with that. So
that's not quantifiable, and I don't think it ever will be. But
no,
how did you identify that? Because you found people like that.
Character means an awful lot, and it's people would talk about sort of highly intelligent people. It's a great help, but there are footballers and there are hurlers that just have that magic thing. Like, you'd see it on the village green. You'd see it on the village green. That's how so many great players were found there. Like, there was a great documentary on Thierry Henry, and he was talking about how he was made to it, and he was made to it. Yes, he became a world star, and there were lots of pluses with it, but in his soul, there was part of him that was never given a chance. And like, you own your children, the children belong to you, but you don't own their mind. And it's it's a difficult thing. And like, that's why on the sideline at times, or I remember when I finished and I went to see Meath playing a World Cup match against Louth at Blow-Navan, and Eamon Barry was in charge of the team. And I'm in the stand with the 3 lads, and they're very young. And I said, Jesus Christ, lads, were they saying that about me? Worse, Daddy, worse. You know what I mean? And like, but if you take it as personal, you're only kidding yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not that. It's not really. not really.
It's not really. We'll
it's
leave
a desire to. It's a desire to be at the top.
Yeah. Okay. I'll let you say that. There's a couple of people I want to ask you about for the weekend. I'm not going to keep you much longer, Sean, because this has been lovely chatting. But there's a couple of people involved the weekend that you'd know quite well. Pádraig Joyce.
Yes.
That second half performance in 2001.
Yes.
Unbelievable as a footballer.
Yes.
What have you seen in terms of what he's put together with Galway this year?
Well,
from the footballer that you saw that day.
The All-Ireland replay in 2020, I knew he wasn't going to play well, that he couldn't. And the reason was before the first match against Kerry.
In 2000, yeah.
Yeah, in 2000 he had a glandular fever.
Okay.
And there was no way, and I told John Gobbie-Good, I said, John, he won't be able to perform. And he was involved with the international rules then, he was involved with Galway, and things were just not going right for him. Just were not going right for him. It was like Jerry McAdee going full length and blocking the ball on Shea Fahy in 1990.
Yeah.
And full length, he blocks the ball, and the ball goes straight over the black spot. Yeah. Like, if your name is nearly on it, that's the way it is. And he moved off Darren, and he got a couple of points off played. And we had said at halftime, no, don't move off, but power that ability to drift. And you know the extraordinary thing about Darren Fay was when Pádraig scored the second point off him, that was the first time in 25 championship matches that any player had scored a second point off Darren Fay. He's probably the cleanest fullback that ever played. Wow. An extraordinary record.
That's incredible.
That is incredible. So what I've seen with what he's done, there's a huge knowledge there, very ambitious, but there's a know-how. And I know that at times he would have been frustrated because nowadays information is so available, say on your phone or whatever, that it was nearly like his players were looking. The same happens with our own lads saw this year, looking for the answer.
Okay.
You have to leave all that aside. No matter what happens there, you've got to put that aside and trust yourself, and to do that. And it's a bit like the trust that the Armagh boys had in Kieran McGeeney to still keep going with it. Like, they were clever enough to know, hang on, we're going to throw away a gem here. And this is, to me, is an extraordinary contest, because here are two incredibly generous men with their time, great football brains, great lads with them. You're sort of like John Diffley, Kieran McGeeney, Kieran Donnelly, Kieran McKeever, yeah, and all the lads. Yeah, and like, but that's what makes it what it is. But the indefinable thing will always be. And Sean Purcell got me good to him. In 1998, there was a This Is Your Life for Sean O'Neill up in Ballymescanlon. And he was sitting at the same table as Jim McCartan, got me good to him, myself, Brendan Crawford, Tom Long from Kerry, Paddy, got me good to them all. And Sean Purcell said to me that night, he said, Sean, he said, this team, he said, is capable of being better than the 3-in-a-row team if they can keep it together. And there's the secret, if they can keep it together. And they were a brilliant team, do you understand? But it didn't work out in 99. It didn't work out in 2000, do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But having the courage to trust yourself that we can still pull it off, that's a great thing. I was blessed with teams who thought like that.
Well, it is amazing, and one of my favourite stories of all time happened in that house, I think, when Pádraig Lyons and the lads landed up to your mum and knocked on the door, and the lads told you to put your shyness in your back pocket, Sean. Absolutely. You were thinking of leaving then?
Well, you see, look, I wasn't sure whether I had what it took to bring it to another stage. But more importantly, I certainly wasn't sure what did they think about it. I knew there was talk about other people being brought in. That never worried me. That never bothered me. And I didn't care if they did. Do you know what I mean? Like, I never coveted the thing. Do you understand? And and there was Jerry Mack, Colin O'Rourke, Liam Hayes, Joe Castles, Mick and Pádraig Lyons. And Mammy said, my mother was never at a match. She never saw me train. She never saw me play. She never saw me tugged out. And yet, here's this wise woman from Clune, County Leitrim, says, now up the house now, you crowd, and sort it out. And it was great. And like, they're things that men have to do and women have to do. And like, they're the things you sort out.
That's honesty. Is that what you're talking about? Or what
yeah, but what I'm talking about, I asked Pádraig, are you serious about me put my shoulders in my arse pocket. I said, I am, yeah. And from then on, the chairs went round in a circle. We discussed things. That realisation that I may have great ideas, Pat Reynolds may have, Tony Brennan may have, but like, do they understand what we're talking about? And like, who better than to do the players themselves? So they took ownership of it. And that's why, honest to God, like, it's very seldom you ever heard the word blame coming out of Meath team. They never blamed anybody else. We had our chances. That was the way it was. Mm-hmm. And it was such an honour for me to be there. Such an honour. Like, look at incredible.
Yeah. We could talk for 24 hours, Sean. I could anyway, and I wouldn't do that to you. Two final quick ones. I know Kieran McGeeney is somebody you would have had with you in international rules teams, and somebody you would have competed against and come up against, managed against. And Kieran Donaghy is somebody as well. You've mentioned kind of how the players stuck with the plan that McGeeney put in place. I know Kieran Donaghy on the weekend of an All-Ireland final would often pop out here for
that's right, yeah.
Just even a cup of tea and a slice of toast.
Eva, our youngest daughter, back a few years ago, Kieran rang me. He said, where are you? I said, I'm over in Tattersall's. What are you doing? I said, Eva's involved in a cross country. What? He said, where? I said, in Tattersall's with a pony club. When would she be finished? I said, she's just finished her round. He said, load up that pony and get home quick. He said, Donaghy's out in the garden, and Darragh O'Sullivan is on the zip line, right? And the other fellow's on the swing, and right. And the thing is because they stayed in the castle.
Yes.
And they'd ramble up.
Yeah.
But that happened an awful lot.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but it was like, and it was lovely. And I know I'm coming in another day, and there's these huge men in the kitchen, and it's the McMahons, it's Justin and Joe and their younger brother, eating bread and drinking tea and bread and jam with Tina, you know what I mean? And that's a lovely thing, and it's a nice thing, you know what I mean?
I think Sean, they might all just trying to be tapping into that wisdom and the history and
not at all.
The beauty of the place, though, of the place. And I know it's you, but it's possibly what you've created and fostered and protected here as well. It does feel powerful. Final word, Sean. You're walking out into Croke Park for the Jubilee celebrations this weekend. Can you just talk to me finally about the boys of '99, your lads, and the feeling you'll have going out there at the weekend with them, and we might just leave it at that, and we'll I don't know if I'll ask you for a prediction, but I might ask you for a prediction after that.
Yeah. Walked onto the pitch in Croke Park the day of the final, '99, and I took off my top. It was very warm, and I suddenly discovered that the Meath dugout was in the middle of the Cork supporters, and I got a fair reception, right? You baldy so-and-so, what's it called? And I'm saying to myself, I can just imagine what's been said to Larry Tompkins from the Meath gang, right? So eventually, there was a guy, one of the Cork lads, who was giving me awful abuse, and the match started, and I spoke to Dennis Murtha, one of the pals with me, and I said to Dennis, Dennis, you talk to James Riley for me and tell him to say this to that Cork supporter. And James said, I couldn't say that. Dennis said, you say that or get out of here altogether, right? And the match started, the ball came off Philip Clifford's leg into my hand. Philip was playing quarter forward in Cormac Murphy, and I threw the ball to Cormac. And the abuse that started out of the crowd, and maybe deservedly so, right? And James Riley, who wouldn't say boo to a goose, James turned around, he said, shut your mouth, he said. And for the rest of the match, your man abused James the whole match, and he forgot all about me. But it's amazing the things that here you are, it's a huge day, you know what I mean? And the thing that sticks in your head. But it had a big, because he might have got to me, the man, but he hadn't got to me.
He didn't, because James took the heat.
Yeah, he took the heat. And the excitement of the game, and with Cork, you always have flair. You always have great flair, and like they're extraordinary counties. They could just produce teams. Certainly in the hurling, and very often with the football as well. From nowhere, they produce a team.
Oh, you could feel it this year, the power that came.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The Meath lads, like that team, like you're obviously still so close. So you're looking at them at the weekend. You meet up. I know you had your 80th birthday last year. Yeah. And you had some lovely celebrations, and with family and friends and everything. But just 25 years on, looking back, is it just pride? Is that what you feel when you're out there, or is it just, do you appreciate? You mentioned the word appreciating what's happened. Like, is that what it is, or what is it? Sean?
Hugely, like honoured. Like as a young boy, like you could hear the train in the background. You know, there were passenger trains even back at that time, and I remember in 1949 and the Meath, because they had to refuel the steam engines, and they hang it out, and I was in the little paddock where the clinic is now, and there was Solon on a ball and kicking up there and jumping. The boys were encouraging me. I'm sure I couldn't go high enough. Like, it's amazing, like you're 6 years of age or whatever it is.
And the passenger trains are going by?
It was stopped when there's being refueled with water. You see the tanker, right? But it stuck to you. And then, you know, you came along, which was 54, and poor Tom O'Brien, time tried yesterday, he was midfield that day, great footballer. And, but like, they were the things, and I remember me team coming back from having won the National League in New York. It was huge, and they had 3 big American cars, and the American flag was draped over them. And so we're all Bobby Rush, Jim Riley, Brian Smith. Like, this was amazing. Like, been in America, and after they won the All-Ireland in '49, they played in 52 Sundays. They had played 50 matches. They played at the opening of an envelope. So they had nothing left.
Wow.
But like, that was the demand.
Yeah.
And suddenly before that, Meath was a hurling county. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was a hurling county. So what I feel is the honour. It's the honour. And it's like the day you wear a jersey. It's I often think of the young lads going into the academy in Kilkenny. No one goes home without wearing the Kilkenny jersey. And that's so important.
There's a power in that.
There's a power in it, and there's a power in your club. And and understanding that other lads are more gifted in one ways than others. But like, it's that unit in the Gaelic football, that 15, and people say about the extra 5 or 6. Of course it is. But like, if the week of a match, all the lads who are subs, if they're suddenly liking you and you're a manager, there's something wrong with them. Like, he doesn't realise how good I am. That's the way they have to be thinking. You know what I mean?
Of course it is.
And that's the way it is.
Yeah. Sean Boylan, thank you so much for giving us your time. It's a special weekend for Meath people. They will be hopefully appreciating what we had back then. And you're still having an influence. Just thanks a million for chatting to me today. It was lovely spending time with you, and enjoy the football. It should be a cracking All-Ireland final.
Thanks, Tommy. Mind Ballyhole Lake, right?
I will. Meath Hillaboo.
Meath Hillaboo is right. Yeah.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks so much,
Thank
Tommy.
you.
Pleasure. Thank you.